Hello, my name is Elizabeth Williams, and welcome to our last of our five-part series of first generation conversations. I am the Director of Undergraduate Studies in the Department of Communication Studies, and I am joined today by a first generation student, Melissa Chavez, and a first generation alumni, Janae Brown. And I myself am also a first generation. So today we are going to be able to watch a conversation between Janae and Yulissa on what it means to be first generation, different challenges, different opportunities that presents. Um, so I'm going to start off. I really want this to be about the two of you. I'll give you both a chance to kind of introduce yourself, and as part of your introduction, if you can reflect on what the current moment means, right? So normally for a first generation celebration, we are gathering together and students are getting the chance to meet alumni face to face. And as we are in this moment of a global pandemic, we have shifted those conversations to an online format. So I would love to give you both the opportunity as you introduce yourself and talk about where you're at right now, to also talk about what particular communication challenges that you have faced over the last 3 months as the world has moved virtual. So Janae, I'm going to let you start, and then Yulissa, you can respond to that as well, and then you can take over the questioning. So I'm going to go ahead and hide myself and let you two have your conversation.
Okay. I am Janae, and I just graduated from CSU in 2019. And I graduated with a Bachelor of Art in Communication Studies and Ethnic Studies. So I had a double major when I was at CSU. Now I am a part of Teach for America, and I just finished my first year teaching at University Prep as a second grade English language arts teacher. And then I think you kind of heard this earlier, but I'm also getting my master's degree right now in teaching. Um, and I think that's pretty much it about me. Oh, and then the question that Dr. Williams asked us. I think the biggest challenge with communication during this time, I could say there was two big ones. It was the first one was between like me and the families that I work with. Um, I think it was hard at times to get in touch with some families. And then at times it felt like I wasn't doing enough with just trying to call them and text them. But I mean, that's all I could do. Like, we couldn't go to their house and stuff. And like, when I could go volunteer at the school to hand out like technology, I would do that. Or once the stay at home order was lifted, I would like take their summer homework to families that were not able to make it down to the school. But yeah, mainly just like trying to get in touch with them and keep the kids connected to me and to learning. And then the second part, the second biggest communication issue, I think, has been living at home with my family. It's hard to, I guess, navigate that. My mom works in the living room, and so I have to stay in my room most of the day. So that's kind of created like a rift between the family. And like, my sister is now home from college, so we don't have like very much space. So it kind of creates conflict in the house. And like, I've been trying to think of ways to like help improve the communication and resolve the conflict, but it's hard when we don't have much space and we're all kind of frustrated with each other because we are basically living on top of each other with not many places to go. So yeah.
Hi, I'm Yulissa. I will be going into my third year at CSU in the fall. I am a communication major, ethnic studies minor, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to bring that minor up to a double major since I have the time for it and I enjoy the classes. I'm currently in Aurora, Colorado, back home for the summer. Definitely feel you on that, like having to be home, especially not necessarily that like we have to be home all the time, but that's just what I prefer for my safety. So it definitely can get a little bit tiresome being at home. Yeah, I guess that's about me. I don't know if I'm missing anything. Speaking more on like the communication issues and just trying to deal with going online and virtual. I definitely struggled a bit when contacting my professors throughout the summer or throughout the semester once we went online. I specifically remember this one situation where we had to answer a question and I didn't understand the question. So the professor had a section where we could ask any questions about it, and I left my comment there, but then she never got back to it. So I ended up emailing her, and it was just a lot of like miscommunication over email. It wasn't the same it would have been if it was face to face. And finally, we got to the point where she was like, let me just call you to make sure that you do understand the question. I was definitely doubting myself and was a little bit frustrated because I just wanted to get the assignment done and I just wasn't understanding it. So I ended up having to call her and we talked and it was actually really nice. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, and we resolved the issue in like 5 minutes. So definitely that communication issue was a big part of things. Yeah. And then the other thing, I'm an RA and I decided to stay on campus for the remaining of the semester. And that was definitely a lot to deal with. And we were trying to figure out what our role was and how to contact students. And that was really difficult, just me being used to being able to like see residents face to face and get to hear about their day and, you know, stop each other in the hallway and get dinner together. That really wasn't an option anymore. So that was definitely really difficult trying to continue making those relationships and reaching out to residents. So yeah, that was probably a big communication issue.
Yeah, I agree with well, I'm in Aurora as well, like the border of Aurora and Denver. But I think you should make that ethnic studies minor a major.
Do we just move on to our questions?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So some of my original questions for you were just kind of like in general, what CSU or communication department resources did you use while you were at CSU for your undergrad?
I think mainly it was like going to office hours. When I first got to CSU, I wasn't really involved in like the communication studies department too heavily. I was more concerned with ethnic studies, but I think what like helped connect me to the communication studies department was going to my professor's office hours, especially, well, I'm not a person that's just gonna like let people do whatever. So especially if I disagreed about like a grade that I got on something or I had a question, like I'm not the type of person to like raise my hand in class if I have a question. But I would like go to office hours and then like connect with like my professors that way. And then I think like what helped later on when I was like a junior was like getting involved in different things on campus. Particularly, I got involved with research with Dr. Williams, and I think like that kind of helped me get more connected to the department. And then also, like even when we did the first generation event, I felt more connected. Like other people had the same kind of experiences as me. So I wish I would have got more involved with the department freshman and sophomore year, but I mean, the office hours really helped connect me.
How did you, since I'm also in ethnic studies, I feel like I definitely lean more towards the communication department. It's just been easier for me to make connections there. What did you do in like the ethnic studies department to get like what involvement did you have within that department?
I also went to their office hours, but then I also, during my sophomore year, we started a Black feminist group. And like that really helped connect me to people in the department. And then like we struggled to get money so that we could go to Spelman College for a conference. And so basically just having to like reach out and network with people during that kind of helped connect me to the department. But I mean, from the beginning, I felt more of a sense of like, that is where I needed to be. But obviously that shifted during like junior year.
Let's see. Another question that I had was, how did you deal with the uncomfortable moments in the classroom when you felt like you were less than because you are like a first generation student? I definitely have my moments where I'm in class and I have no idea what we're talking about and I don't even know like how do I just raise my hand and be like, okay, can you repeat everything you just said without feeling too like self-conscious about it?
Like I said earlier, I did not raise my hand often in class. If I was confused, if I knew the answer, I would like raise my hand. But a lot of times, like I said, I would go to office hours or I would email my professors to ask them the questions or talk to them about whatever I was confused about. And then also, I think like just like talking to my friends. I know you're not supposed to talk in class, but I would try to like talk to them to see if they understood it. And then even when I felt like how you said, like sometimes you're nervous, I would even just talk to my friends because a lot of my friends were first generation students. So I would just like, even with those frustrations of being in class and like, or even just like dealing with the regular stuff of college, um, talk to my friends about that. And then at the time I had a sister who was in school at UNC. So we would kind of like talk about that, which made things a little bit easier because she's a year younger than me, but I think like us going through that experience kind of together made it a little bit easier to at least have somebody in my family I could talk to.
What were you involved in at CSU?
Freshman year, I wasn't really involved, but then sophomore year, we started the Black feminist group, and then I was a part of a sorority. Then I did the research with Dr. Williams, and then I was also on a committee with her, and that's it, I think.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's a good overall.
But it
like,
was. Yeah, but it wasn't like spread out through the 4 years. It was mainly heavy in like junior and senior year.
Okay, so I am definitely at the point in my college career where I'm kind of like thinking about after graduation and what I want to do. I'm not like 100% sure, but what steps did you take just starting to think about? You said you're in graduate school, right? Like deciding to apply to that and I guess that whole transition, what did you do then?
Like it was crazy because I felt like for a long time I was behind everybody else because I felt like everybody was doing things that I wasn't, like applying to graduate school, like trying to take the GRE. So I mean, basically I still didn't know what I wanted to do during senior year. I hadn't applied to graduate schools or even I was thinking about it, but I just didn't know. And then I also was thinking about taking a year off. And then I think the beginning of like my second semester, somebody from Teach for America like approached me. And then it seemed like a good idea because I didn't really have anything going, but I did have like an interest in education. And like my dad always said, I was going to be a teacher. So I was just like, like I can try this out and, like now, like I love it, and like my kids, like I love them, but I didn't really have like a sense of direction in it. And I think even being like a first generation student, it kind of felt a lot harder because like I didn't have anybody to say, oh, well, this is what I did. It was just like, you know, all I had to like look at was like my professors and like see like, oh, well, they became professors, but what if I don't want to do that? But I think a big thing that helped also was the Career Center. I took professional communication during my senior year, and that really helped a lot because we had to make a LinkedIn profile, actually go to the Career Center and like talk about career choices. And I think even now they have like where you can go and see what people are doing with your major. And then you can like connect with them and see what they're doing and like talk to them about their experience as well. So I would definitely say use the Career Center.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go in there a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, sooner rather than later, because the like people start getting jobs very quickly.
So my other question was just like, how did you get to where you are now? So when did you like decide graduate school was for you and start applying? Was it after you graduated?
So basically right now, like, so I had to apply to graduate school. It's a 2-in-1 program. So I get my teaching license and my master's degree in 2 years. So basically, like, right, like I didn't get an undergraduate degree in education. So I had to either sign up to do a licensing program, or it was the program that I'm in now was the other option of doing like a 2-in-1 deal. And I was just like thinking like, basically, if I'm going to pay this money, I should get my money's worth. And I honestly think now that I'm looking back on it, like it was like a better choice. But like now, like after my first year of teaching and thinking about how much the program has helped me, and like even now the course that I'm in is really helping me. So I would say, I don't know, I think for me, I already have my career. And so mine is kind of like hand in hand. Like I'm teaching, but then I'm also in class learning about teaching. So I think that at first it seemed like a lot, but now it seems like it's ideal. Um, so I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah. Where are you going for graduate school? Are you like what school?
It's a specific school for teaching. It's called Relay Graduate School of Education. It's specific for education. So teachers get their teaching license and principals can get their principal license from there. So it's not really like it's like a specialized school. Um, but I don't know. I think graduate school, like I would have never imagined I'd be working full time and going to graduate school. Like it's crazy, but I think, do you have an idea of if you want to go or no?
Yeah, right now I'm leaning towards student affairs, higher education. I don't really know like too much what I want to do with that, but just like my involvement, like as an RA has definitely like exposed me to that like whole side of college, and the opportunities there. I think I'm involved in a lot of like student affairs things, like participating in different events. I was part of key communities my first year, and that's definitely something that I could see myself doing. I've never really known exactly like a career of what I want to do, but I just know I like enjoy being mentors to students, and just helping them through that college transition. So student affairs seemed like a good place where I could do that in some shape or form in the future. But that's kind of like all I know right now is like, hey, maybe I should do that. Don't know too many like specifics or like what I would even do with that degree, but that's kind of where I'm leaning towards right
I would say like, I mean, that sounds good. And I would say like also to like, if you're still like on the fence about it, trying to go to the career center and see like what you could do with that, so that you can have, because I know like a lot of people who go to graduate school kind of want like a purpose and like are trying to, get a job afterwards. So maybe trying to go to the career center and seeing what people are doing with that degree could help you so that you can, have like an end goal and maybe even help solidify that decision.
That's
I don't
good.
know.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other questions. I feel like we covered a lot of different things. Yeah.
Janae, do you have any questions for Yulissa?
Yeah. Are you? Oh, you're an RA. Are you involved in other things on campus?
Yeah, I feel like I'm pretty involved on campus. So I'm an RA. I also work at admissions. That has definitely been a very interesting position. I just got hired as a group visit student coordinator, so I'll be working really closely with high school students. So I'm really excited about that. We'll see what this upcoming semester it looks like. We're probably going to do more virtual stuff than in-person stuff, but either way, hopefully soon we'll be able to have students on our campus, and I'll be able to show them around and give them all the good information. I also am a participant of the Academic Advancement Center. So that has been definitely a good program for myself. They serve first generation students, as well as like low income students, students with disabilities. So that has definitely been a resource that I've used quite a bit. I meet with their staff twice a semester, and that's really helpful. I'm also a part of the first generation student organization, which is fairly new. So I'm glad I'm able to be a part of that and like help build it up. We're still like trying to figure out stuff and reach out to first generation students, which is a little bit difficult just because there isn't like a one place where like all first generation students are. They're, we're spread over a lot of different centers and fall under a lot of different categories. So we're still trying to figure that out. Yeah, I think those are my main involvements.
And how did you like get involved with this? Because I don't know how this like interview, I don't know.
Yeah, for which involvement?
Like this like interview that we're on? Or...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just got an email. And I definitely wanted to, I thought it was like a good opportunity, because I feel like being like in all my other jobs and positions and things that I'm involved in, I feel like I'm heard and like I can speak up and I'm like have other people there to support me. And the communications department was something that like I'm starting to get involved in quite a bit, but I'm feeling a little bit like nervous because you don't really know like who else is a first generation student. That's not necessarily something that's visible. So I like get very nervous being around the department and trying to share what I think. It's still something that I'm getting used to. So when I saw that this opportunity was available to me, I thought that it would help me feel a little bit more comfortable with the department and just kind of hear what other students have done in the department and are doing now.
Have you do you go to your professor's office hours?
Yeah, I do quite a bit. I think specifically with the communications department, I feel really comfortable going to my professors. I feel like I'm always in that area of the building anyway. I'm also part of the Center for Public Deliberation, and that's under the communications department. So I feel like we're always hanging out in there, and I feel comfortable going to my professor and asking them questions. I feel like I feel pretty good doing that and talking to them.
Okay. Oh, seems like you're pretty involved. I mean, that's all the questions I have. I'm glad you're a part of the Center for Public Deliberation.
Yeah, it's definitely a good one.
Wonderful. Thank you both. I am wondering, can I pose a question to both of you before we wrap up? I'm wondering if you could let me know, or you could answer this question. What advice would you give to other first generation students? I think you might have hit at some of this, either that, or so either what advice would you give to other first generation students, or what do you wish you could tell your freshman self? If you could go back and tell yourself your first year at CSU, what advice would you give yourself as a first generation student? And I'll let either of you jump in.
I'll go. I would say to get involved earlier in the department, because I felt like once I got involved, like it flew by, and then it seemed like it was at a point like too late, but not really. So I would say like get involved earlier for myself. Yeah.
I think for me, like the main thing that I've struggled with is kind of like this imposter syndrome of like you don't belong, even though like I was admitted to CSU just as anyone else would have been admitted. So I think that definitely like stopped me from fully expressing myself. Like I got involved a lot, but then once I was there, I feel like I wasn't like fully involved. Like I wouldn't talk as much or give my input. I would just kind of like do whatever they were telling me to do. So I feel like definitely just don't be afraid to speak your voice, even if you feel like it doesn't matter because you don't have the same background that everyone else has. To still put yourself out there and be confident in what you do. That's definitely still advice that I am trying to take from myself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Such important advice from both of you. I really appreciate both of you taking the time today to share your experiences. Hopefully this conversation between the two of you can continue as needed. But I thank you both for your time, and yeah, thank you. Take good care.
Of course.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer.
You too.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.